This is Jen Snyder-Gibson, and we're coming to you live from Charlotte, North Carolina at the Brand Builder Studios with the Breakfast Club Beat. Well, this is going to be a different podcast that we're doing today. For so far, all the podcasts we have done from the Brand Builder Studio here in Charlotte. And as I've had a chance to share with some of you, my hope with this podcast is we'll be able to bring some people in regionally as well as nationally. I've had the opportunity to live in Nashville now for the past 5 years. And a year ago, hands down, I met one of my most favorite people that I have had to see. It's like I would just want to hug my laptop. And I want to introduce everyone to a really dear friend of mine, Cara Clark. Cara is an integrative nutritionist, and I would have never known what that meant when I met Cara. So I'm going to let her kind of just jump in and share a little bit about her story and what she does.
Oh, you're so sweet. I'm really happy that you're doing this because you have such a great voice and you're so good at conversations and connecting. And I think that you'll be able to connect a lot of people through your podcast. So I'm so glad you're doing it. Yeah. And I'm so glad we met. And I know when you reached out, you're like, I know this is a Hail Mary, but I feel like we need your help. And I agreed that you did. And yeah, integrative nutritionist just means that I'm looking at the body from a lot of different angles, trying to unveil maybe root causes, but also just taking the stress load off the body. So my intention is to use different types of, I don't want to say medicine because that's not the right word, but therapeutics and allopathics and apothecary to help support the body. And obviously food is a part of that. So clinically, we always start with food, but then as you know, we work in the nervous system. We address root causes eventually when the body's not so stressed, because you saw how that goes if the body is still too stressed to address root causes. So really just making the body feel safe, the body feel comfortable so that the body can restore itself. So integrative nutritionist means that we're bringing in food, but integrating all different types of medicine to help the body heal itself.
Well, here's one of the things that, and we only have 20 plus minutes on this today because I feel like this could literally be a 4-hour conversation. Yeah. So when I originally met you, and you were so kind to reply to my email because at the time I was desperate for help for my husband and went into it thinking that that's what you were going to be doing, what was helping Quentin. I didn't realize the depth of things that would change in my own personal life. And being with you on a weekly basis for the past year, and I always say it's the Cara way or no way. That's the only way I live my life now. And I felt so
slow fade, right?
It is. But that's what I think is one of your strengths, is making it be something that isn't forced on someone. And you give your expertise and your knowledge, but then someone can take that as much or as little as they want and at their own pace. And when you do it like that, then someone I think has a much better chance of being receptive to it. And so as we were going along in this journey with Quentin, it was really, I was all in on his side, but I just didn't realize how it would change me. And so, as you know, because you've had a chance to talk to some of my girlfriends along the way, I really wanted to be able to just share your insane knowledge with everyone, because I feel like the amount of stuff that people can learn from you about, not just about nutrition, but about their nervous system, about their cortisol levels, about their sleep, about their inflammation. Oh my gosh, I feel like I need this whole list. It's about every, yes, toxic load. Who would have thought I was changing every cleaning supply in my house? I would have never thought that. So I really wanted to give an opportunity for you to just share today with people that get the chance to watch or listen to this on some of the key things that people might not be thinking about or can possibly look at changing to help their way be a little bit easier in life.
Yeah, and I love the way that you like phrased it all and ordered it because there was an order to the process. And that's why I wrote the book Feel Good Way. And we call it the Feel Good Way, and it's recipes for a better life, but eventually there'll be Feel Good Way lifestyle for a better life, where you are trading, out products for products that are more compatible with the body, where you are taking a big look like it took us 9 months before we even talked about like oral microbiome and the connection with the mouth to the gut and what that means bio individually. So the starting point's always food. So let's start there.
Yep.
You came to me. Quentin had terrible digestive issues, and food was really the biggest problem in your life. And that's why people come to me. They never know what all they're going to get from me because I don't really market that, because everybody's
Right.
super individual in what they need. And one of my gifts, honestly, my God-given gifts, is that I can recognize where people are at and how much they can compartmentalize and what their capacity is. So that takes me like one meeting. So typically I start somebody on a food program that is enjoyable. So you're not restricting foods you love necessarily, but you're working with the body that you have. So to take the load off the body, we have to make digestion easier. They say we are what we eat, but really we are what we digest. And if
Yes.
digestion is causing more stress to the body, then the body's never going to be able to deload. So, my approach with somebody that has complex digestive issues is to take away all the energy that's going into digestion and use that energy to help heal the body. So, we pull back on the foods that are harder to digest. And sometimes that's higher fiber foods or really healthy options, as you guys learn, and we taper it back and we only add what the body can use. So once we get the body feeling a little bit safer and a little bit more calm, then we can make, changes, add food back in and add more therapeutics, but we always start with foundations, right? So the
Yep.
foundation of food, and let's talk about for women specifically, just because to your point, like you were the innocent bystander in this case, which is usually the opposite. The men are usually the innocent bystanders, and the women are the one that coming to me. Um, the biggest difference that I teach is, well, it's a guideline. You eat within the hour of waking up, which is counterintuitive to what a lot of people have done the last few years or the last decade with intermittent fasting. But women have more hormones that we have to be protective over. So, on top of that, not only do we eat within the hour of waking up to protect our cortisol levels, to protect where our energy is coming from, to use stored fat as energy, we also combine our macros. So we eat all three macros at every single meal. And this is what I would always say the missing piece of the puzzle for people. I still know friends that like grab a piece of fruit and eat it by itself. And I'm like, have you not heard anything I've said for 17 years?
Well, that's a great point, Cara. I love that you brought that up because I think all of us grab an apple or grab a banana or grab something and you don't think about it. That's why I always say everyone needs a Cara in their life, because if you don't have a Cara, you might not necessarily be learning these things. I would have never known that I need to make sure that I'm doing certain things with it. And when you do it a certain way for months at a time, then you start to see the difference.
Yes, and that's what we call it, the CCN difference. So eating within the hour of waking up, always combining your macronutrients every single time you eat, eating every 4 hours after. So those first 2 hours after you eat, our body goes through energy cycles. The glucose is being utilized for energy, for ATP, for Krebs, for hormones, for all of that stuff. And then the second 2 hours is getting our body back into a state of rest. So the state of rest is just as important as the digestion and the energy cycle. But once that 4 hours hits, and I will say postmenopausal, because we've had that conversation recently, you
Yep.
can get to 5 hours before the body starts going into hypoglycemia. But we want to be eating every 3, 4, 5 hours, depending on what hormone stage that you're in. 5 different colors a day. We want to incorporate fruits and vegetables, different array of colors. Choose seasonally, choose fresh, choose organic when you can. But 5 different colors a day provides us with antioxidants. We love having healthy hair and skin. So the
Yep.
antioxidants not only reflect in the way you look, but also in the way that your body utilizes food, uptakes energy, fights viruses and bacteria. So the immune system, antioxidants are used in a lot of different places in the body. Keeping meal sizes consistent. And I feel like that was another one for you is, we think like grabbing a snack is a good idea, or the lower the calorie, the better. But if we're not eating enough calories at a meal, then the body could still be potentially using cortisol for energy. And we don't want to be doing that. We want our food being our energy source. So keeping meal sizes consistent, breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. I teach 4 meals a day, typically. Some people like Quentin can get away with 3, and a lot of men actually can get away with 3, but most women need 4 consistent meal sizes a day. Um, and then drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. And this is the easiest, freest thing of all time that almost nobody does. So hydrating with pure water, biohack to add back in some minerals with Celtic salt. And then my last what I call feel good philosophy is exercising how it feels good. And that
Hmm.
seems a little bit simplistic, but I think a lot of times we are doing what we used to be able to do. Like a lot of us are transitioning from cycling to perimenopause, perimenopause to menopause. Our bodies are different than when we were in our 20s, or our bodies are different than our
Absolutely.
favorite influencer that's like showing her amazing muscles and her amazing movement. So the true goal is to feel good after the workout. So recognizing, is this optimizing my energy? Do I have a dopamine hit? Do I feel consistent the rest of the day? These kind of questions to ask ourselves. So, that's the foundation of it. And like I did with you guys, the supplemental foundation is an active multivitamin, an omega-3, and a probiotic. That's the basic starting point of feeling good.
So, one of the things that I was shocked to learn from you, but I feel like is a really important thing to share, is how is the proper way to drink water and how it affects you when you're eating a meal.
So, eating hygiene is one of the most important aspects when we're working with somebody that has digestive issues. So, we're going to be really particular in how we approach the mealtime and what goes into the mealtime and all of that. So, we talk about water. Everyone loves to drink their water with a meal, or you get served water at a restaurant, or you're used to having a drink with a meal. When we sat up as kids, they gave us water or milk. That was our choice. I don't know if you remember that, but
Yep.
back when milk was affordable. Um, anyway, so I tell people to keep water 20 to 30 minutes away from mealtime because there's a couple reasons, 2 major reasons. We have different pH levels in different areas of our body, our mouth, our stomach, even the women's region, they all have different pH levels. So alkaline is not always better than acidic. We want our stomachs to be acidic when they're breaking down food. This helps to produce what we need to break down the food, but also to improve digestion. All on that same topic, we don't want our food diluted by water. We want to be able to address the food directly. So this is a huge hack, simple once you get used to it, because I think a lot of times people come into the kitchen and they realize 2 things, they're thirsty and hungry at the same time.
They do. Absolutely.
Well, and as you learned, like it's not as necessary for every single person as it is with people that are struggling with major digestive issues.
I think I got into a habit of it, obviously because of Quentin, and it took me a while to get that habit. And sometimes when I'm in a restaurant, I will still have some water to drink, but I can always tell a difference when I do it than when I don't. At home, I don't ever have
Yeah,
anything with a
the
meal.
easiest way to decrease bloating, and I know that's a big
Mhm.
thing for a lot of people. They're always like, "Oh, I feel bloated after a meal." Okay, well, eliminate the water with your meal and see how your body digests.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that I think a lot of people will find interesting is explain why the lymphatic drainage is such. Look at you getting all, see, you get so excited. I know, I love it. But that's what I love. Like, Cara gets so excited about the body and how to make it great. But tell people about what you need to do and why.
There's an order to the process of the body. The body wants to go in order, but a lot of times we go out of order. People get really excited about a cleanse, they get excited about a detox. But in order to detox properly, we have to have our drainage pathways in order. And the best way to optimize drainage pathways is the cell. So we optimize the hydration and the energy into the cell with food and water, and adding a little salt to the water. And then we optimize the lymphatic system. So I remember when you guys came and Quentin was like, I want a dry brush. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's so fun to do these trends, but let's go in order. And he's like, what do you mean? No, we're going to slow down. We're going to optimize the lymphatic system so that we can utilize the lymphatic system. So some of my favorite ways to optimize the lymphatic system are basic bouncing around, exercise. Obviously, we like to dry brush, but we like to do that later. Rebounding is one of my absolute favorite ways. And I always pull up my graphic here because it's so helpful to see that we have 4 different drainage pathways in the body. And by optimizing the lymphatic system, we can optimize each drainage pathway. A lot of times when people come to me and they want to detox, they have different metabolic pathways and different drainage pathways that are not functioning well. So we use the lymphatic system to create this homeostasis among our other drainage pathways.
Here's what I find so interesting about your way as well. That was a year ago that Quentin said something to you about wanting to dry brush, and following everything your way to maximize how it's going to benefit your body the most. Now we've just started the dry brushing 2 weeks ago. And that's almost a year in. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
People
it
would
is
think,
crazy.
oh, you're just going to go pick up a dry brush and and start it. And it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work that way. The lymphatic system is cool though, because it is kind of where a lot of the white blood cells live. And so we can kind of see what's going on with the lymphatic system based on like how much you're getting sick, or, your body tells you immune system wise what's going on with the lymphatic system. And it's our secondary circulatory system. So our first circulatory system is the blood, and the blood has a pump. Our lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. So remember, I started you guys with lymphatic activation a long time ago. And he did this a lot of times to help regulate the nervous system, to help regulate digestion, to help regulate sinus pressure. You did it to help regulate sinus pressure. And we started to understand the order to that process, that there's a waste management area. It's up here. This is where we start to dial in the lymphatic activation so that our bodies can eventually detox, which is a natural process, by the way. It doesn't need to be induced all the time as much
Mhm.
as we do it.
Yeah. Well, if someone's listening to this and they feel a little bit overwhelmed on where to start, because I think a lot of people do get overwhelmed and then they shut down, right?
Yeah.
If you were going to say to someone 3 things to make a priority at the beginning, what would those be?
I would say start with 1 meal a day. 1 meal a day, that's macro balance. Is that going to be breakfast? Usually it's going to be breakfast because that's the one most people have most control over. I'd love that to be a smoothie. Um, Walk after every meal. So micro walks after every meal can help to regulate blood sugar. When you have a regulated blood sugar, which we didn't even really talk about briefly when we talked about combining macros, the body optimizes where we burn optimizes that we burn fat for energy. So burning fat for energy is obviously great for how we look, but it also gives us the most consistent energy, the most consistent moods too. So we want to burn fat for energy. So micro walks after every meal and then hydrating. Like it's really that simple. Proper hydration. And this part, I don't want to add more complex issues to such a simple topic, but I always say make sure you're drinking pure water and then remineralize it because that's the safest way to hydrate the body because water is so toxic these days too.
Yeah, I don't go anywhere without my Celtic salt.
Yeah.
It's just with me. We carry it everywhere. It's with us all the time, our little blue bag.
I had a client the other day who was running two back-to-back races at Disney, and she was like, how do you want me to stay hydrated? And I was like, just take salt with you and put it on your tongue. And she's like, literally? And I'm like, literally. And she's like, it was such a game changer. I could feel my energy shift instantly. That's because the cells are getting water. So a lot
I
of
love
times we
that.
drink water, it goes right through us.
So I'm very excited about your new book that's coming out in a few weeks. Oh, do we have a copy?
Have a copy.
Nice. Tell people a little bit about your book and how they can get it.
The feel good way, like I said, is exactly that. It's guidance on how to feel good, and it's a simple approach with the philosophies that I taught you, including 90 macro balanced feel good recipes between breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, dessert, and some of my favorite beverages, hot beverages. I included all of my absolute favorite recipes and some brand new ones nobody's ever seen before. And I used a faith approach to the book. So I think what kind of makes it unique is I was able to incorporate faith. So prayer before meals is another way to help regulate the nervous system so that you can optimize digestion. And not only that, I do feel like once you start to feel better, it helps you to pursue other aspects of health in your life, including spiritual health. So I always start with food, even when somebody is seeking high level emotional health or high level spiritual health, because I think that once you start to feel good, that gives you the hope that you need to continue. So I pulled some amazing testimonials into this of how some life-changing experiences that people had just from adopting this way of eating. So it's 90 recipes. It's our feel-good approach, guidance on eating out at restaurants, guidance on alcohol, which we never have to talk about, thankfully, hydration, exercise, all of the, major factors, and then incorporates faith into all of it.
I love it. And tell me, or tell everyone, when is your book going to be out?
Pub date is May 13th. So celebrate with us with a pre-order.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I can't wait for your release party too. It's going to be fantastic.
Fun.
Tell people how they can get involved in Cara Clark Nutrition.
Yeah, there's lots of different tiers, and I do think this is a good way to talk about it. The lowest level is the book, and I don't mean low like, you know, most hands-off level is the book. You can do it on your own. You can start incorporating these recipes in your day-to-day life. I also have PDF cookbooks. If you're just a smoothie fanatic, we have like 200 smoothie recipes. Um, and then challenges. We have a seasonal challenge right now. Our spring wellness renewal starts next week. And we actually do a ton of lymphatic work and detoxification education because there's 3 levels of detox. So once the body does start to go in order, that's kind of fun to see. So we have cookbooks, we have challenges, and then we have my membership. My membership is an educational platform, but it also includes a portal with 2,500 CCN recipes, macro balanced. You can just search the ingredient you want to use for dinner that night. And then I do have individual services, as you know. So those are the different levels of tiers. Oh, and I forgot, we do group pods every few months. We do a group pod is specific to different health circumstances. So we are going to continue doing perimenopause, menopause, group pods, and AIP, which is an anti-inflammatory approach.
Absolutely. We love AIP, don't we?
Yes.
So, a lot of my girlfriends have tried the recipe of your dark chocolate sea salt freezer fudge. They absolutely love it, which it's like our go-to. It's our favorite for a little treat. And several of my girlfriends just tried your dark chocolate zucchini breakfast muffins, and they love them. They're so good.
If you
Yeah.
love rich chocolate, I'm your person.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Cara, this was such a treat to have you with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that some people will reach out to you and it helps them feel better because I know that you've changed our life.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for sharing.
All right. Love you. Thank you.